Welcome to your paradise, the place you long for all your life. With UNA University, I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri. Welcome everybody, welcome, and welcome. Hello everybody. Yes. UNA. Yeah, welcome everybody, welcome, and welcome. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri, representing UNA University and UNARepublic, where we help you to find your financial freedom, your social freedom, and most importantly, your spiritual freedom. Let's get to it. I want to welcome everybody. I am so excited to be here. Now, what we're talking about today, we're talking about women in power, Sibyls, and oracles. All right, what has gone on with women in power? All right, so before I get into that, y'all know I gotta make sure y'all know about some of our products and services that we have going on. Now, first of all, y'all know about the wonderful trust package, the membership trust package with UNA. Now, I'm just going to take a little bit of time to explain the importance of this membership package. I want to welcome everybody. Portia, welcome. Dr. Portia Genesis, welcome. Glad to have you. My people in TikTok, if you are in the house, say something so I can represent for you. Christopher Willis, welcome. All right, so now I want to take some time to explain the importance of this membership trust package. Now, first of all, this membership trust package is going to come with all of your membership or your trust documents, all right? You all know what these are. Your declaration, security agreement, UCC, all that information that comes with this package, okay? Also, it comes with a membership badge. First of all, when you're talking about a trust, this is the beginning of you creating your own nation, all right? This is making sure that you have set down and established what you have ownership of, as well as what the laws are of that nation that you have ownership of. That's very important. So these are very powerful documents, okay? Then you have a membership badge that comes with that. Now, one of the things with being a part of UNA is that we establish what the laws of our God are, all right? And when you become a part of it, now UNA is not a religious organization, but it's established under a religious rule, meaning that when it's established, the state has no jurisdiction over it. See, those of you all who know law, you know that when there's a religious organization, it doesn't get taxed. The state doesn't have any jurisdiction over it. But the problem is these religious organizations, they go and create 501c3s, which put them up under the jurisdiction of the state. Well, we know better, all right? But when you become a part of UNA, it's looked at as a religious organization. And with a membership badge, when a job, for example, comes to you and tells you, well, we need you to inject this into your vessel, or we need you to do this and that and that. Well, with this, you're saying, no, well, my God said we don't put that kind of stuff in our vessel. That's what the importance of this membership badge is, all right? Then we have an allodial ID. This deals with your spiritual name. Now you have identified who you are as a spiritual entity, and we go into the importance of a spiritual name versus a given name versus a corporate name. Okay, we go through that, all right? So on here, we also have the QR code, or the QR code, where you can access your documents once they go on record, all right? So UNA is going to put this on records with our county as well as with UNA. We have a public record, Okay. Not only that, this comes with an education, which is most important. Because once again, these are tools. But if you don't know how to use the tool, then the tool cannot work for you. This is why we have the education, which is the most valuable part of it. And it's worth more than the whole package itself, just the education alone. Not to mention the cost of this package normally runs for twice as much as what we charge for it. So want to encourage you, if you're interested in getting the membership trust package, find us at UNA University. My people who are on TikTok, name, number, email. TikTok people, name, number, email, leave it in the DMs. All right, so we can get to you for the membership trust package. I hope I explained the importance and the power of this. If you don't know, ask somebody. All right, now the other thing I want to get into is the membership, the UNA Beginner Law Book, right? The UNA Beginner Law Book. With this, if you get the physical copy, it's going to come with an extra copy of the Hierarchy of Laws, an extra copy of the Universal Laws, as well as an extra copy of the Vibratory Frequency. All three of these are in the book. You're also going to get a copy of the Civilization Cycle, as well as the Societal Totem Pole. Now, why are we giving you this? Because we want you to put them up. All right, I don't want you to tear up the book trying to put these things up. No, I want you to put them up on your walls, on your mirrors, on your refrigerator, because we want these laws to become a part of you. Inside of the book, you'll find the maxims of law, all 200 and something of them, and more information on these laws and why they're so important. All right, so Beginner Law Book. This is a wonderful beginning step to understand what your powers are. Also, when we're dealing with court, when I have a court case, I'm putting all these laws on record. This is why it's important to understand the trust and understand law and the fact that you create laws. You have the right to create laws. And if I'm dealing with a court situation, I'm putting these laws on record. Trust me, I'm doing it right now. I got a court case right now. The first thing going on record are these laws to make it clear. This is what my God says. This is what we stand on. All right. So, Beginner Law Book, the trust. Also, don't forget, summer season 2025 is starting on the 14th of July. 14th of July. We want you to be in class front and center, because we're going into it. Now, the two classes that we have this season are application of universal law and estate management. Once again, we are applying these laws. We're not just talking about it like, we know what the laws are. No, we get ready to do it so you can see them for yourself, because we get a lot of people often saying, yeah, I know about the laws, but then they say, well, I'm broke. Well, then you don't know the laws if you're saying things like that. Oh, well, I know about how it works, but I can't get my life right. Everything crazy when you don't know the laws. So we need to start applying them. All right, so that you can see them work in your life. Now, our other class for this season is estate management, where we're going to get into applying trust and understanding really the power of trust and recognizing that everything starts with the trust. Everything, even you and your birth certificate, it all starts with a trust. And we're going to learn how to apply that knowledge to everything else in our life, so that we make sure everything is ordered and we can manipulate it the way we need to in this third dimension. All right, let's go. Nikki, welcome. All my people in TikTok, welcome. Mary, American, welcome. Okay, so listen, we are broadcasting on X, TikTok, as well as YouTube at UNARepublic. Welcome, let's go. Tonight's subject is women in power, Sibyls, and oracles. Women in power, Sibyls, and oracles. So I was doing some analytics, and the analytics says, Diva. That's how the analytics sounds. The Diva. It said, Diva, you need to speak on women in power and Sibyls and oracles. So that's what we're going to talk about this evening. We're going to follow the analytics. Lady Libra, welcome. Can we eat meat, Diva? Lady Libra is ready already. She started off with the question, can we eat? Are you trying to say, can we eat meat? Yes, you can eat whatever you want to eat, Lady Libra. Let me tell you something. Diva Lyri is not here to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you what the facts say. And then you use that information how you need to use it to manipulate what you want your life to be, okay? That's what we do. So yes, you can eat meat, but we're going to talk. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make sure I get on that. I'm going to do it right now. Let's get on that question right now. Okay. We're going to talk about meat, and then we're going to get into women in power and understanding what's going on. So when we're talking about meat, one of the things that I've found with meat and women who eat meat is they tend to have fibroids a lot. You know, those cysts on the inside of your fallopian tube and things like that. So I want to go into some things about that since Lady Libra brought that up, and then we're going to move into this women in power. Now, when we're talking, the reason why I don't eat meat is for several different reasons. One of them being spiritual, the other one being what is going into the meat, and the other one being the way that those beings are killed. Okay, so let me start on how they're killed, and we're going to go from there. Now, those of y'all who know about kosher killing and how Jews, the so-called Jews, kill the animals, it's called a kosher killing. Now, let's understand what that means. With the Jews, what they would do is when they were going to kill a cow, for example, they make sure the cow didn't know that it was about to die. Why is that? Because when a cow knows it's about to die, it's going to secrete hormones into its cells. It's scared. It's horrified, it's mortified. And so what happens is that when you kill the animal and it has secreted these energies or pheromones, they're really energies into its bloodstream, then whoever eats that meat after that, you're going to take on those properties of fear and anxiety. And so this is why they had the kosher killing. So I need you to understand that the way they kill these cows, the cow full well knows it's about to die. If you've seen any of their movies, that there is a movie, and I forget the name of it, but it shows a cow and how they weave them into this, kind of like what happens when you at the airport. You know how they weave it through that thing? Yeah, I feel like cattle every time I'm going through that, which is why I told y'all I'm going to be flying private very soon. But anyway, they weave the cows through this cattle maze. And then when they get to the front of the line, they jack the cow up on this, they hoist it up with some kind of harness or whatever they use, and then they cut his head off. All the other cows standing there looking at this cow getting his head cut off. And the problem is, people, let's recognize cows are not stupid. Animals are not stupid as people want to make them be or make them out to be. Well, they're crying. And the movie shows the cow, they're anxious, they trying to push back, and they're looking at this cow get his head cut off. And they're crying. And so when you're eating that meat of that next cow that gets jacked up on this whatever and his head cut off, he already knew he was getting ready to die. So why, when you eat that, you feeling anxious? Somebody touch you and you scared and nervous. Well, look at what you were just eating. All right. Another thing, when we're going, that's just how they're killed. Here's the other thing. They put a lot of hormones into these beings, and whatever they're doing, bacteria or let me rephrase that. pesticide. I don't even know what's the term for the stuff that they give. They give them hormones for one to make them grow bigger and grow fatter, but then they also give them other things to kill off bacteria. Well, you got to understand that you're eating that as well. So I'm getting into women who have these fibroids. I need y'all to understand what fibroids are. All right, what is a fibroid? The fibroid is basically where there's an ovum that has come out from the ovaries, and it's some kind of way gotten stimulated. I forgot. I'm sorry. Y'all hear all that? To all my people out there who celebrate, happy holiday, 4th of July. I forgot. It is the 4th of July, so I don't really celebrate that holiday. But for those of you all who are celebrating, happy holiday. Happy 4th of July, okay? So, anyway, getting back on it. So you'll see what a fibroid is where the ovum has come from the ovaries, and it has found its way into the fallopian tubes, and it's stuck there, right? Because it gets fertilized. Now, let's understand these fibroids, they have hair, nails, and teeth. They start growing because of the meat you have been eating. That meat, all of those chemicals that they're putting into that cow, they find their way in you, and then they start to fertilize the eggs that are coming from your ovaries. And then they get stuck in your fallopian tubes, and they call them cysts, but they're really actually developing ovums. All right? So, yeah, you can eat meat. I'm not telling you not to eat meat. I'm just telling you what it can do for you. And that those women who have fibroids and cysts and things like that, it tends to have to do with the fact that they're eating meat. And when you stop eating meat, well, some kind of way those things go away. All right. The other thing for me is spiritual. All right. As I said, when you eat these beings, you're taking on their properties. And let's understand that there's a spiritual essence that goes along with eating meat. And so I'll say this, and then I'm going to continue because I don't want to go into that side of it. But when you're talking about a lion versus a gazelle, they are on the same vibratory frequency. Now, I know this is going to be deep because I'm not going into it deep tonight, but that lion that's getting ready to eat that gazelle, let's be clear, they are on the same vibratory frequency. The gazelle is not innocent. Oh, is it innocent? Because I ain't doing nothing. The lion is just a mean. No. The gazelle and the lion, they met before. I'm going to say it again and I'm going to move on. The lion and gazelle, they met before. This is not their first time meeting. All right? So when you're eating something, like that lion is going to eat that gazelle, they're going to meet up again. And then it's going to be the gazelle's turn. It might be two totally different vessels. It might be a different vessel that this gazelle is in and this lion is in, but spiritually, they are connected. Spiritually, they are connected. So for me, I know I'm connected to a cow. I know I'm connected to a pig. I know I'm connected to a chicken. And when we meet again, I don't want to be getting eaten by them. I'm just this is my own spiritual walk that I'm doing. I'm not telling you what to do or how to do it. I'm just telling you that the lion and gazelle are on the same vibratory frequency. All right? So Nikki says, sounds a little bit like parthenogenesis. What is partheno? Yeah, Nikki. Yes, it is similar to parthenogenesis, except for the fact that you have introduced a stimulating agent into your body. Now, you could do it yourself. The problem is that what you're getting stimulated by is something that's unnatural that they put in the cow or the pig or the chicken. And so what happens is these agents that get inside of you, now they start stimulating the eggs that are coming from your ovaries, and then they get stuck inside of your fallopian tube, and now they calling them cysts. But those things are developing. They got, like I said, they got skin and teeth and hair and nails. But they didn't tell you. This is why I keep saying, you know, as we get into this, thank y'all for that. Y'all can blame Lady Libra because she wanted to know, and so I had to let y'all know what's going on. But I'm going to get into this, women in power, so that we can understand what's going on as far as the woman and her powers, and the fact that we all have been lied to, men, women, melanated, non-melanated, all of us have been lied to in this society. And women, you have to regain your knowledge so that we can right this wrong that's going on in this place we call a society. Okay, so thank you all for bearing with me. Thank you for the question, Nikki. Let's get into this now. When we're talking about women in power, I have to go, you know, start at the Bible, because in the Bible we recognize that the woman has been made subservient to the man. The first thing the man thinks is, you know, the Bible say man, woman, child, but let's understand that this Bible and where these scriptures come from, where this, what the Bible is versus where those original scriptures come from. So you have heard me tell you many times, woman, that you have been conquered. And this is hard for women to understand, because she just thinks, what am I supposed to be following the man? When the truth is, she's been conquered by the man. She's also not understanding who she is as a being and who he is as a being. And the problem is that because she doesn't know that, she's following a being that, one, has conquered her, and two, can't lead her to nature. Can't lead her, has led her away from nature. All right, so I get it. This is going to be upsetting to men, and my brothers, don't knee jerk up in here. Just go do your research, because I needed to be made clear. I love my brother. I love my brother. And we are not going to be saying anything that's putting him down or trying to degrade him. But what we are going to speak is the facts. We're going to speak the facts. So don't knee jerk. Just go and do your research on the things that we talk about in this room. Okay. If y'all have any questions too, I want you to ask them so that I can get to it. Thank you guys on YouTube for asking questions. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being here. Now, getting into the Bible. Let's understand that the Bible, the first edition of the Bible, comes about in 325 AD. So you guys know we've got that 0 point, which is the time when Christ was supposedly born, and then after that, that's AD, and then before that, that would be considered BC. So 325 AD is when this Bible comes about, and the purpose with this group called the Council of Nicaea. I needed this to be made clear because they want to make it out to be that this was a group of Albions. That's not the case. This is a group of melanated people. And while I'm speaking on this, I needed to be made clear, Santa Claus, that being that we know of as Santa Claus, yeah, he's melanated. He was melanated, and he was on the Council of Nicaea, Saint Nick. And y'all look that up. But this is 325 AD, and these are melanated people on this thing called the Council of Nicaea that came together to create a canonized version of these scriptures for the purpose of establishing a unified religion. All right. In doing so, they took scriptures that are so old in the BC that they can't be dated. Who wrote those scriptures is the question and the issue that, and nobody's talking about it. They're written by Sibyls and oracles. Sibyls and oracles. So I want to go into Sibyls and oracles real quick, and let's understand who they were. Now, I need this to be made clear as I'm reading these definitions of who the Sibyls were. They're going to present some misnomers. They're going to tell you, oh, you know, it was men and women. It was both. This is part of the rewriting of history. And we're going to go into this. Put this up on the screen for me, Savvy. So we're looking at this, and we're seeing that Sibyl, it says, refers to a female prophet or oracle. Now you're seeing it right here, what it says an oracle is. Female, feminine. In ancient, it says Greece or Rome. These women are believed to be divinely inspired and capable of uttering prophecies. One of the most famous, well, we're not even getting into that. I just want to stop right here, that they're capable of uttering prophecies. When you look in the Bible, all of the prophecies are in the Old Testament. And you have people trying to, and let me say this before I get into this, because you have a lot of people trying to say, oh, the Bible is real, it's not real, the Bible's fake, and it's a perfect word of God. Okay. I need to make this clear about the Bible, and you can have your own opinion or what have you about what it is. Now, when it comes to the Bible, I have a great deal of respect for it because it is highly powerful. It is highly powerful. This is why, you know, I'm showing you constantly the beginner law book and letting you know that the laws in here, especially when we're talking about the maxims of law, they come straight from the Bible. Highly powerful. Back in the day, I don't know, some of you all remember, but there were people who used to ride around with a Bible in their car because the maxims of law are the highest laws. They are higher, really, they higher than man's law. They're not higher than universal laws, but they're higher than man's law. And so if you stood on the Bible and what your God said, then man didn't have anything to say to you. So the Bible is highly powerful. And to this day, if you say the maxims of law in a courtroom, they got to respect the maxims because they are higher than even federal codes. All right? So let's understand why the Bible is so powerful. Okay. That being said, it is not the perfect word of God. It is not the perfect word of God. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back of the room. It is not the perfect word of God. Well, Diva, how you going to say that? Because you said it was powerful. Okay. Anybody who has a Bible, I need you to go and get that Bible and turn to the first couple of pages and look for this little C with a circle around it. And then after that, you'll see the words copyright. And then I want you to ask yourself, who has the right to copyright God's words? Who has the right? Anybody in the comment section, YouTube, TikTok, who got the right to copyright God's law? Because when you copyright it, you say it is mine, that it belongs to me. That's what a copyright means. Who has the right? Anybody. Let me know. Tell me in the comment section, who got the right to copyright God's word? Nobody. But then, if you change the words and put your own twist and spin on it, and you create different names and you give it different titles and you change the sex and you change the laws and the words, well then you got the right to copyright that, because that becomes your words. So if you are telling me you got a Bible and in the front of it it says copyright, then that can't be God's word at all. Because nobody has the right to copyright God's word. But I can go further. I need to get back on topic. We're understanding, as this definition says here, a Sibyl refers to a female prophet or oracle in ancient Greece and Rome. So it says, but I want to make point, a female prophet or oracle. These women are believed to be divinely inspired and capable of uttering prophecies. Now, here's the thing about Sibyls and oracles. They were not people who walked with the regular people in society. They didn't hang out with others. They weren't a part of society. You don't just see them walking down the street and, hey, Mary, and she in the bar and she in the grocery. No, that's not how Sibyls were. They stayed to themselves mainly. And also, when you think about Sibyls and oracles, or you hear things about Sibyls and oracles, you will hear the term androgynous, meaning that they looked a little strong. They have some strong features. Yeah, because they was tapped in. You get tapped in the source, you are the feminine and the masculine. That's another story. I'm not going into that today. Also, want to look up the term oracle. All right. Now, those of us who know, let me take that 1 second. Those of us who know or saw the movie Matrix, you remember what the oracle looked like. Looked like a melanated woman. Well, they got it right. They got it right. Because the oracles were melanated women. But when you go back and look, even when they talk about Greece, they want to show you Albion women. But the original people in Greece were melanated. I just need to say that because, once again, we need to understand that the conqueror is going to rewrite the story. So follow me here. I'm not bringing this up because, oh, Diva is racist or prejudiced. No, that's not. I need you to understand the facts. Because you're going to understand there's a cycle. A cycle. When a people are conquered, their history is rewritten by the conqueror. All right. So keep that in mind. Here it says an oracle has two primary meanings. It can refer to a person or place believed to deliver divine messages. All right. Then it's talking about a corporation. We're not getting into that. A person believed to deliver divine messages. That's an oracle. Someone who can read the future. And again, thank you, Savvy. Again, we want to remember that all of your prophecies that were created by the Sibyls and Oracle, they're in the Old Testament, not the New, the Old Testament. Okay, so I want to get into this so we can understand something. When it came to who was running or the original order on this planet, it was a matriarchal society. All right, women ruled. It was the woman who had all of the knowledge, all of the power, all of the education, the land, the riches, the wealth. It was her. It was owned by her, and everything came from her. And let's understand that originally she had the ability to procreate on her own. That's what we're not told. The woman was originally procreating on her own. This is not a diss to my brothers. These are just the facts. Even if you go back to understanding the molecular side, even if you go and look at the molecular side of who the woman is, or where all beings come from, it starts from the feminine. He was originally a female. Every male that you see walking was originally a female. Started from a she, started from X's. Everything comes from the feminine, including him. So let's be clear. Originally, she had the ability to procreate on her own, and then she started to create him. And then he took over. Originally, it was his place to revere the woman. This is why when you see the term Mason, Masons, that came about because originally it was her teaching him the esoteric knowledge of how this planet works, or how this third dimension works. So let's break it down from an etymological standpoint. When we see Mason, we get Ma for mother and son for the offspring of the mother. This is when she started to teach him, once again, the esoteric knowledge of how this dimension works. She started giving him the secrets. Mason. And in those, anybody who's ever been in any kind of secret society or Mason, originally he was supposed to revere her. Even when we look at the universal laws, that's the first thing they get taught in your secret societies, or they used to get taught that, because that deals with, they call it the 7 hermetic principles. Universal law, same thing. And so what's happening is, once he had started to learn the knowledge, well, he took her over. Now, let's be clear, she is not a victim. I've talked about this. When women are getting that energy returned to them, it's because of the energy she put out. He was originally a sex slave. Let me be 100. She wasn't supposed to be sleeping with him. I need y'all to pay attention now. Pay attention. Remember, I just talked about how the lion and the gazelle, they're on the same vibratory frequency. Okay, everything, we are all one. That's a universal principle. And the faster you get knowledge of that and understanding of that, then you'll know how to conduct yourself in this third dimension, so that you create the third dimension that you care to see. So when she first created him, she wasn't supposed to be sleeping with him, very much like when the Anunnaki created the so-called human, the first human, they weren't supposed to be sleeping with them. I know, I get it. This is hard. It's over somebody's head. The people in the back of the room, I know y'all not getting this. Y'all come to the front so I can explain it, okay? Pay attention. When she started to create this being, once again, she started to teach him that esoteric knowledge. But there were women who were not being respectful to him. He was a second-class being. He was never supposed to be equal. He was never supposed to have the same knowledge as she had. And she treated him as such. And when you deliver that kind of energy, by law, it has to come back to you. I need to go into the Anunnaki. All right. Same thing happened with them. A lot of people keep asking me, well, what happened to the Anunnaki? They still here. They can't leave. Especially when we look at these ancient scriptures, and the scriptures are telling you they put their DNA all inside the human vessel, well, you're not going to just be able to get up and walk away from that. They're still here. And whatever energy they put on the humans, they have to receive it. Once again, the lion and the gazelle are on the same vibratory frequency. Anunnaki, especially if you put your DNA in the human vessel, you are on the same vibratory frequency. If you put out an energy, it must come back to you by law. And I say to you, they're still here. You just don't recognize them. The same thing happened with the male and the female. She mistreated him. And when it came time, she became a sex slave to him. Originally, she knew how to procreate on her own. This is why there's the Parthenon. The Parthenon that showed women how to continue to procreate on their own. Well, what is the Parthenon? Okay, let's break this down etymologically. When we're talking about parthenogenesis, look it up. We're talking about the woman's ability to procreate on her own. Parthen means asexual. Parthen, meaning without sex, without stimulation. O, meaning of. Genesis, meaning creation. Parthenogenesis is creation of birth without sex. Let me just say it like this. Parthenogenesis is creation of a birth without sexual stimulation. That's what it means. So when you start talking about the Parthenon, asexual is that Parthen is telling you dealing with asexual. And Parthenon was an actual place where women used to go to learn how to procreate without sex or without fertilization. And when you're talking about the most known parthenogenic birth, well, that would be that being that y'all know of as Jesus. Jesus was supposedly an asexual birth. Would Mary have had access to the Parthenon? Well, it was open around the time of Jesus's birth. And who shut the Parthenon down? Well, a Christian organization. I need to get back into this because I need y'all to understand that religions were created for the purpose of subjugating the woman. All religions are patriarchal. So I talked to you about the matriarchy, meaning mother, ma, matriarchy, where the woman ruled. Patriarchy is pa for paternal. Patriarchy is where the male took her over. Once again, I say she was not a victim because she put an energy on him. He was her sex slave. She had the ability to procreate on her own via parthenogenesis. But once she created him, well, he became a tool. She didn't have to work so hard and use her mind in order to procreate. She could use him, this new tool. It's kind of like, listen, pay attention now, people in the back of the room. It's like a calculator. You get a calculator because we used to do all these highly mathematical, whatever, in our equations in our mind. We could do that in our minds. Square root is cube root, and all. We could do that in our minds. But with the inventor of the calculator, it was like, wait a minute. What's 5 times 6 again? 5 times 6 equals. Yeah. You don't have to keep it up here. You don't have to learn how to use your mind to create or gain that knowledge. Okay. And some of y'all looking at me like, what you mean he was a tool? Okay. Some of y'all remember we used to know all kind of phone numbers up here in our mind. We knew grandmama phone number, we knew mama work number, we knew mama other job number, we knew the house number, we knew the schools number, we could memorize. We had that up here in our head. But right now, when this cell phone comes into the cell phone, some of y'all will be lucky if you know 3 numbers by heart, much less 2, and much less grandmama them, uncle them, auntie. You don't know barely your own number. That's because of the cell phone, this technology. You've forgotten how to use your mind. Okay, same thing with her when she forgot how to procreate on her own because she has no knowledge of self. So she invented him. He was a sex slave. No, he was a helpmate, Diva. He was a slave. It's very similar to how when you go in history, you will see that the Albion so-called white people, they were slaves. They was indentured servants. Please go do your research. They was full-fledged slaves. And then there was laws keeping the original people, the so-called Indians. They was telling them you can't own any slaves anymore. They say you can't own any Christians because they were full-fledged slaves. Go do your research. They want to tell you, oh, no, the white people was indentured servants. When no, they were slaves. It's like men. They was full-fledged slaves to the woman originally. And this is why she's getting a return of energy whereby she became the slave to him. When did this happen? We're going to start right back at 1000 BC. Right around that time period. See, they're not telling you about all the women who used to rule Egypt. They don't tell you about the women. No, because they want to make it all, it was men. There were women who ruled in Egypt. Go do your homework. Why are they not telling you about them? Because once again, she was conquered. And when a woman or when a being, a people are conquered, well, then the people who conquered them, they're going to rewrite the history. So 1000 BC, this man started to take on the masonry and all that. They started to gain knowledge about who she was and the makeup of this third dimension and why she had so much power. And then it came, we started getting into that zero time, so-called Christ. And then we get into 300 AD. And we've got all these different religions coming into order. Christianity, Islam, you name it, Judaism, all of your major religions are created by men and melanated men. Melanated men. All your major religions are created by melanated men. They're all patriarchal. And their purpose was to subjugate the woman, to take away her power. And then as you get into this Bible with these scriptures that were written by the Sibyls and oracles, well, they start rewriting them. And I'm going to go into a few of them so we can understand this game about how you can see they were rewritten. But if you go back to the earlier Bibles, if you can get your hands on them, and I'm talking about anything before 1600, 1400, 1300, 1200, they had names of the gods, the vast majority of which were feminine names, feminine, female gods. But they started to take the names out and put in Lord and God as opposed to the names of these gods. This is why you want to start reading left out books, other scriptures, older scriptures, because there are names of them and they give you clues about who was really running things in the past. Okay, so these Bibles, they had names of the gods, and then somebody started to take the names out and replace them with Lord and God. This is why you look in the Bible and you get a lot of people saying, well, God is schizophrenic. What's wrong with him? He loves us one minute, then he hate us the next minute. What's going on? It was more than one God. But it's only one God, Diva. Well, Elohim, etymology. Etymologically, what does Elohim mean? El means God. Ohim is referencing many gods. So what's all this? Which is just one God when even the term Elohim is telling you there's many. What's all this? Let us create. Who was us? Who? This one God? Okay. I can go on. But getting back to what the main point is, that you've got all of these scriptures and you've got the woman being written out of her own scriptures. She has now gone into subjugation. She's being subjugated by the male. So let's understand some things that we can see from an etymological standpoint. And y'all go look this up etymologically. Don't look up the definition because the definition is not going to tell you anything. So let's go into this and understand how we can see that she did go into slavery or enslavement to the man. And the only reason why this would happen to her is because she put out the same energy that is being returned to her. Once again, the lion and the gazelle are on the same vibratory frequency. So is the woman and the man. They are on the same vibratory frequency. So when she puts out an energy to him, by law, it must be returned. Vice versa. When he puts out an energy to her, by law, it must be returned. And maybe this is why men are so upset about women gaining knowledge about who they are, because they know they done did some dirt to the woman. And by law, the man and the woman are on the same vibratory frequency. Whatever dirt he did must get back, returned back to him by law. Okay. So you got this situation where the man has created these religions and he has subjugated her, has written her out of her own scriptures, because those scriptures come from the oracles and the Sibyls. Let's be clear on that, especially when we're talking about the Old Testament. Now, the New Testament, first of all, let's understand the Old Testament is written in Hebrew. The New Testament is written in Greek. And let me be clear, that doesn't mean that the New Testament was written by Albions, because it wasn't. It was written by melanated folks, because your original people in Greece, Santa Claus, the so-called Santa Claus, was said to have come from Greece, but really he comes from Hungary. Go do your research on him. That's what a lot of melanated people were. He comes, as a matter of fact, Saint Nicholas, he comes from a very rich so-called black royalty group. That's who the Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas comes from, a rich royal black group over in Hungary, all right, which is close to Greece. There's a lot of melanated people over there. And so we want to make it clear that when we're talking about those who are writing these books, whether it be the Old Testament or New Testament, these are melanated folks, and they were males. But when we're talking about the Old Testament, those scriptures were around so long that they cannot be predated, and that is where all of your prophecies are, in the Old Testament. And so the reason why I'm bringing that up is because when we start looking in these books and we start reading it, then we get some clues. So I need to break this down about how, so you can get some etymological work going for yourself in the background and understand what really happened with women and how we can see it right here, right now, using keys that are in our everyday words. Okay, I told you about Mason, my son. That's what it means. Ma for mother, son for offspring of the mother, where she's teaching her son the esoteric knowledge of how this third dimension works. Okay, now, when we come from 1000 BC, moving on into zero time, and then 300 AD, where the Bible is created, and we all the way up here in the 2000s. Let's understand where the marriage certificate comes from. All right, when we're talking about a marriage certificate, that gives him ownership of her. A marriage certificate gives him the right to do commerce with her across state lines. Let's understand this now, because somebody going, ownership. Okay, when we're talking about a marriage certificate, that is a contract whereby the state has created a business between him and her. That's what that is. That's a contract where the state has created a business and they're making money off of this union between him and her. So this ain't no union between you and God. This is a union between you and the state. So the state can make money off of your union. Not only have the state made money off of your union, you have given the state ownership of your union that you claim is between you and God, when it's not at all. All right. But let's get back to the marriage contract. That contract gives him ownership of her. This is why she changes her name to his last name, because she is now his property. Also, that marriage certificate gives him the right to do commerce with her across state lines. Now, when you look up commerce, what you used to see is the term sex, but they removed that. Look up the etymology of commerce, and what you're going to find is intercourse. So he gets a certificate whereby he has turned over his union to the state, which the state now owns, and it gives him permission to do commerce or sex with her across state lines. I need to go into this now, because when they get married, he becomes her husband. And if you look up the term husband, it means a manager of a farm animal. Well, who's the farm animal? Well, that would be her, his wife. It's a farm animal to him. Once again, because she has gone into sex slavery to him. All right. Let me look up, I want you to also look up the etymology of the term family, because once she gives birth to children now, of course, they're going to take on his last name because they are now a part of his family. Well, what is the etymology of the term family? Well, it means slaves and servants. That's the etymology of the term family. So listen, I need this to be made clear, because I get people, oh, she going against the family. What is a family? I'm going against slaves and servants, and women and children being slaves and servants. I need to go back to what the Bible, what the original Bible said. When you do your research, originally it was Christ, woman, child. Christ, woman, child. This is why when you go to other countries, and I saw it a lot when I was in Argentina, they'd have a melanated woman with a child, and this is who they would pray to. Christ, woman, child. And the issue is that you hear all the time, man, woman, child. The problem is that man has replaced Christ with himself. There's a problem there because now she's trying to follow a being that she's not supposed to be following. And I know people get upset with me. I get it. I'm just telling you what the facts are. I'm telling you that I haven't even gone into the molecular structure of what's really going on. I love my brother. I love my brother. I love my brother. But I needed to be made clear that this path that we're on is changing. I'm not telling you, oh, you should change. No, the universe is correcting itself. The universe is correcting. This is not on me. I'm just letting you know what is happening. Whether you want it to happen or not, this is what is happening. And you can either, one, pay attention, or two, get run over by what is about to happen. There is a correction being made right now. This is why you see women coming up. This is why you see women regaining their power and their knowledge. This also needs to be made clear. This doesn't mean, women, that you should be disrespectful to your brother and hateful and negative. Doesn't mean that at all. But you do need to understand who you are and what your powers are and how to stand in them without being disrespectful to him. So we're understanding that at this time there is a correction going on. And so we got to understand how we got into this place so that we don't see ourselves back here again, because once again, the lion and the gazelle are on the same vibratory frequency. Whatever energy you put out, it must come back. I've said this time and time again. My brother is my sister, but he is also a spiritual entity, and he never dies, just like you never die. You're going to see him again. You're going to see him again. Make sure that whatever energy you put out now is good, so that when you see him again, it's all love. The same thing with the melanated people and the Albions. Those are your people, melanated folks. The Albion, they're your people. Just two spiritual entities coming back in here and fighting. Remember I told you that the original slaves in the Americas, they were Albions. They were getting stepped on, discombobulated, mistreated, and everything else when they were being brought into this land. Who brought them here? Moors of Morocco, Tunis, Algiers, all your bandit countries, your so-called Barbary countries. Those are the ones stealing the Albions from different lands like Ireland, Sicily, kidnapping them, and then enslaving them as children in this land. You should have been asking how so many of them got here. Okay. Well, you step on them, and then next thing you know, we hear in the 1800s, and the Albion is running amok, and they inward this and inward and hateful. Why? Where's that energy coming from? That's not happenstance. Who was those Albions in here doing all this mistreatment of the melanated people, and why? Who's in the prison industrial complexes? You want to know who kidnapped them Albions? Go to the prison industrial complex. It's clear who they are when you know law. When you know law, it's clear who they are. They're getting a return of energy. And so, sisters, as you rise as you rise, make sure that your energy is high vibrational. Make sure you show a lot of love to your brother, because what do they say? You're going to coming down, you're going to see the same people you saw on the way up. Don't disrespect your brother. Don't disrespect the Albion. Don't disrespect anybody, because you look, you're on the same vibratory frequency. They are your reflection. So make sure you're respectful to all of them at all times, because you're going to see them again. So women, you're regaining all of your powers. You're regaining your knowledge. You are the original Sibyls and oracles. So now, as you regain your knowledge and your powers, make sure that you use them. Don't power trip. Don't disrespect your brother, because we already did that. My whole point of this is to make sure we don't end up back here again. And I thank the sister who asked me that question about meat, because again, it helped me to explain to you why I don't mess with it. Everything in this dimension is one with you. You're on the same vibratory frequency. So however you treat an entity, whether it be a cow, a pig, or a dog, or a being, however you treat them, that energy has to return by law. So if you're disrespectful to your brother or Albions who are your children or anybody else, you are one with them, and that energy is going to be returned by them to you in a different time. Might not be this lifetime. It'll be a different lifetime. Same way melanated and Albions keep fighting back and forth like this and not understanding where that energy is coming from the Albion. It's not happenstance. It's not happenstance, which means it didn't just happen just because. No, there's a reason. And you can make sure that the next time you see that Albion, or the next time you see your brother or whoever it is, your lover, whoever you think that is not one with you, the next time you see them, as long as you has shown them love, then the next time you see them, the only thing that they can give you is love. All right. Do I have any questions? Let me see. Dante says Big Mama already has her throne back. Okay. All right. She's learning how to wield it, though. I can tell you that. I just want to make sure Big Mama don't do what we did the first time around in this game. So it's sort of like converting to artificial. So I'll say this. Thank you for that comment, Nikki. When we got to understand that man has a tendency to flip things 150 degrees from what nature is. You can see this in law. You can see this even when we're talking about food, when we're talking about the monetary policy. Man is going to flip things 180 degrees opposite of what nature is. So let me give you an example. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull up the universal laws, the hierarchy of laws. And this will give you an understanding of what I mean when I say man flips things to be 180 degrees from what nature says. So give me 1 second. And as a matter of fact, because before I get out of here, I got something I want to go over that one of my students sent me. Let's see. There we go. So I'm going to put up the hierarchy of laws, and let's take a look at how man flips things 180 degrees. Let me see. There we go. All right, so Say. All right, so here is the hierarchy of laws. All right, now what you'll see here is you'll see the universal laws, natural laws. Thank you, Sylvia. Sylvia, thank you so much for that. Sylvia says, great teachings, which makes this very interesting. Thank you for the work you put into this for us. Thank you so much for just listening, Sylvia. That means the world to me. So we've got universal laws. This is the hierarchy of laws chart as UNA posted. Now we've got universal laws, natural laws, laws of maxim, sovereign, which would be you when you recognize that as yourself, contract law, treaties, constitution, and then federal codes. Now, then we have corporation. Corporation is under federal codes because all of these corporations are governed by federal codes. Now, everything under corporation is going to be considered the fictitious world created by man for the purpose of controlling you. Now, in this fictitious world, what man is going to do is try to get you to sign away your God-given rights. Pay attention, people in the back of the room. When you go and sign contracts with these corporations, their purpose is to get you to sign away your God-given rights. So once you're underneath that corporation and you claim to be a citizen, which makes you a slave of that corporation, then what you have done is said you don't have God-given rights anymore. You just have privileges given to you by that corporation, i.e. a driver's license, i.e. marriage license. Any kind of license is where you're getting it from the corporation. That's not coming from God. Now, also underneath the corporation, what they do is get you to believe in the term scarcity. Scarce. When we know natural laws, we understand that we live in abundance. That's what nature says. You live in abundance. You plant a seed, you're going to get many back. We live in abundance. But man down here under corporation has told you, no, it's scarce. We only have so much. But that's not what nature says. That's not what God says. That's not what even universal law says. So when you are stuck under what man says and these so-called laws, by the way, man down here at corporation, they can't even create laws. You know what they create? Codes, statutes, and ordinances. That is not a law. But what those codes, statutes, and ordinances are set up for is for you to give away your God-given rights once again. But when you standing under God, you are in abundance. Because there's nothing that you can ask the universe for that the universe cannot provide to you. But when you under man, man is going to tell you, ooh, you better come over here and get these medications and you're going to die. You don't have this kind of food and you got to have this and this and this. And you got to pay us for that. Well, if you're standing under man, then man is going to keep telling you, oh, it's scarce and you need me. You need me to provide for you because if without me, you're going to die. That's how man switches everything 180 degrees to where you believe in him and you forget about mama, the universe, source. All right, I hope this is clear. Under the corporation that y'all know of as United States, they're telling you everything is scarce. that there's only a little bit of this, and they're doing whatever they can do to make you fear. They're telling you, if you don't have me, there's no safety. Take your shoes off before you get on the plane so we can check them, and I need y'all to run through this radiation machine because you need to be safe. So then, as they're doing these kind of things, they're making you, hold on. They're putting you in a lower vibratory frequency. Hold on, let's take a look at that. Here you go. This is why these charts are in the book. When you start fearing, you feeling grief or apathy or shame, and you down here in these lower vibratory frequencies, then the beings, they feed off of this, because this is how you keep them alive, because they've made you fear. So now you think it's okay for you to have to do all these things they're telling you to do under this corporate entity. They're telling you that food is scarce. They're telling you that diamonds, for example, they're telling you that those are scarce. So they're getting you to pay a lot of money for things that you really don't have to pay for when you stay up here in peace and joy and love, and you dealing with source. They're telling you, oh, you ill and sick, so you need to take these synthetic medications. Okay, I go on, but I'm gonna stop it right there. Does anybody have any comments or questions? I hope I made it clear. We're understanding women and the power that they truly possess. All right, Women in Power, Sibyls and Oracles. Look them up. We do have a book coming out. We want you to be on that book, especially women, because it's really helping you to understand what your powers are. The book goes into quite a few things that you ever thought you wanted to know about the woman's body. For example, why women who are O positive tend to have so many miscarriages. When we're talking about the woman and her periods and how to stop them, why you got periods in the first place, the book goes into that. Parthenogenesis and the truth about where the woman's ability is to give birth on her own, and why we were never told these things. The book goes into all of that. Let's be clear, women, even my brothers out there who are listening. As a matter of fact, to my brothers, I want you to know once again, I love you. This is not a desire to diss you. You are a spiritual being, and I know I'm gonna see you again. And it's gonna be all love before you get out of here and when you come back. But this information can be intimidating for men to hear. It's intimidating for women to hear, because some women don't want their power. If that's you, I'm not talking to you. But for the women who really want to know who they are and how we got into this mess, we go into it. That book is going to really break some things down so that you can really understand who you are and why you have the power. And then it's intimidating to men, because when you know who you are, then that makes them not needed. Doesn't make them not wanted, but it makes them not needed. I need that to be made clear. So if women are asexual, that means women can't be gay with each other anymore. Thank you for that question, Lady Libra. When it comes to sex, let's be clear, whether it be sex with men or women, that is sex is a carnal activity, lower vibratory activity, and it further removes you from tapping into source. Whether you sexing a man, whether you sexing somebody or masturbating, it's a carnal energy. And so people want to tell you, oh no, that's the most powerful energy. No, it's not. How you telling me you showing me a a chakra chart and the chakra you're dealing with sex is all the way down here at the bottom, and you're going to tell me it's more powerful than the chakra that's up here above your head. So let's be clear. That's why I talk about it in the book. All right, what you're doing when you're having sex, what you're doing when you are attempting to procreate, you are actually doing something on a spiritual level that has not been explained and should have been explained. And I'm not going into it here. You need to get the book, okay? But when we're talking about two women, being together and procreating, or not procreating, but having sex, when they do that, it still is removing her from being able to procreate on her own. And it had to be made clear. I'm not telling you not to have sex. I'm not telling you to be gay or heterosexual or bi. As a matter of fact, women, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, close your legs and find out who you are before you allow anybody to tap into you, period. Close your legs, please. Because some of y'all are sexing straight up demons and bringing demons into this planet, this dimension, and then wondering, well, I don't know why they picking on my son. I can't tell you, and I don't want to get into it deep right here, but close your legs. Because some of y'all are sleeping with demons. Some of y'all are you're sleeping with your enemy. And you don't get it. Because somebody told you, man, he's supposed to rescue you. He's supposed to protect you. When the problem is you. You're bringing the danger. Again, because you don't know the laws of this dimension, you are constantly spraying all kind of energies across this planet and not recognizing that the problem is you. So when a woman decides she's ready to wake up, that's when you'll see a change in this dimension. As a matter of fact, my dimension is changing. I hope you are able to change yours too, because it starts with you. Let me answer the rest of these questions. This is very powerful. Your teaching is so clear. Thank you, Stevie. I appreciate the love. That's a brother saying that. Stevie, love. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, love. Thank you so much. Lower vibratory chakras from the baseline to the balance out and support those higher frequencies. Okay, if you want to believe that having sex is going to balance out a higher frequency, go ahead. Do it. Again, I don't tell you what to do. I just give you the facts, all right? I go through it deep in my book so that it's clear what happens when you are indulging in that, men and women. You are further removing yourself from the ability to tap into source, especially men. Y'all be spraying your ancestors all over the place. You don't even know what you're doing. Somebody telling him, oh no, when you have sex, it balances out. No, the hell it don't. It further removes you from tapping into source. You are welcome to believe whatever you want to believe. I'm good with it. I told you the facts, all right? So that they aren't thrown out of the whack, thus causing tyranny. Just stating the point of lower vibratories. Again, if you tell me that tapping into a carnal with sex, again, not knowing what sex is, y'all don't know what sex is. Y'all don't know what sex is, because I want y'all to understand something. I'm not going to go deep into this because I want to get into a question one of my students asked me today. Sex is a spiritual undertaking that a lot of people are not aware of. And when you are tapping into that, there is inside of you. So I talked about this. I'm not going to go deep. I'm trying not to go deep because I do go into it in the book, but it's entailed. But there is a gland in your head, in your brain. And when you stimulate yourself, it affects your ovaries. All right. So when you it secretes an LHS hormone into your body. And when it does, it starts affecting your cells, not only in your ovaries, but in your bone marrow. They call those stem cells. And when you start triggering your stem cells, you are really messing with your ability to tap into a higher dimension, your stem cells. So somebody has caused you to trigger those, and you don't even understand what you're doing. You killing yourself when you do that, literally. So it's like sugar and sex. Those are the two things that are most prominent in removing you from your ability to tap into source. Sugar and sex. And why is it that these are the two things that are pushed on you as a child from an early age? Sugar and sex pushed on you, whether it be through candy or subliminal messages or stories that they tell you. Oh, and the damsel in distress and the Snow White, and she get kissed by the prince, and the sugar and sex. They are pushing it on you from an early age. And those things are the two main things that keep you from tapping in the source. And those are the two main things that tap your carnal lower vibratory frequency or chakra. And you want to tell me, well, you know what's going to balance. Well, go ahead and balance yourself out. Get you some Coca-Cola and some sugar and some all that other stuff. Go have you some sex. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people who are really talking about tapping into this chakra up here. That's what I'm talking to. All right. Anybody else have any questions? My people on TikTok, I love you. What you doing? Thank you, God Swift, for the love. Mary, thank you for the love. Mary Khan, thank you. Bam Bam, thank you, Anthony. Welcome. Okay, let me get into this. I had a student to send me something. I wanted to talk about this. I want to do a reaction to it. All right. She's in the house, I think. Lady Libra says, do you believe the color red is low vibratory and low frequency because it's the lowest color on the chakras and in frequency charts and the emotional charts? Lady Libra, thank you for the question. Everything that I've seen is showing that that red is a low frequency. I can't, yeah, I believe it, but I haven't studied the frequencies of the colors yet. I haven't gotten into that, but everything that I see, it shows that red as a lower vibratory color. Now, but when it comes to the chakras, oh, I'm on that. And every chakra chart that I've seen is showing that when we're talking about that root chakra, it's red. So I haven't gotten deep into it as far as the colors, but definitely everything that I've seen shows red as a lower vibratory color. All right. How can we breathe in hydrogen instead of oxygen so we can get back to our natural? Oh. All right. Thank you for that question. I'm not sure. Hold on, ma'am. All right. Thank you for that question, Lady Libra. I'm not sure about that. Once we figure out how to just breathe in regular oxygen, that'll be a great thing for all of us. Okay. So, but thank you for that because, yeah, Lady Libra is talking about our original color is green and blue. You see, y'all going to take me into another topic. I don't want to go into that tonight. All right, let me get into this. I want to do this reaction to a video that one of my students sent me. Okay, and let's take a look at this. Put this on the screen for me, Savvy. All right, so let's take a look at this video.
Comes from science. minutes. There are two things that are documented to happen when someone clinically dies. The first is that your entire life will flash before your eyes. And the second is that your brain keeps working 7 minutes after your body is gone. And we've literally recorded the brain still firing after death, actively creating memories. So for 7 minutes, we're in this like dreamlike state where we're reliving our entire life. And according to this guy you may have heard of, Albert Einstein, time is relative. But what does that actually mean? This is suggesting that 7 minutes in the real world could feel like 100 years in the dream state. Kind of like when you fall asleep, you dream an entire movie, then wake up 5 minutes later. Now here's where it gets weird. Some people believe that we all died in 2012. That's when the Mayan calendar predicted the end of the world. And remember, this is all just for fun, and this is just a conspiracy theory. This theory suggests that instead of an apocalypse, we collectively slipped into this 7-minute brain echo. And this right here, right now, is our dream. This is us reliving our memories. And little time glitches, little weird things like the Mandela effects, or like deja vu, or feeling like the world is off, those are just cracks in the memory trying to keep itself stitched together. So this theory is saying that that would mean that the world did end and we just haven't accepted it yet. Do you think we're 7 minutes into the afterlife? You can come over here for longer freaky video.
All right. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Let me know in the comment section if you guys heard that. Thank you, Savvy. Could y'all hear that in the comment section? Let me know if y'all heard it now before I move forward. Okay, nobody's going to answer me. Let me see. Can y'all hear me now? Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Okay, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Asha. Thank you. Somebody's listening. All right. So in this video, I responded to one of my students, and I wanted to bring it up here because of the simple fact that, there's always these questions about life after death, and whether or not this time, or that whole 12-12 thing, because it was supposed to be old. In 2012 the earth was supposed to be gone or what have you. Okay, so give me a second, see if I can pull this up, because we talk about this a lot. Hold on. Please let me be able to get to my, hold on. I might not be able to get to the visual that I wanted to show you, but I'll just say this. Okay, so this is my response. All right, so in the video, she says 7 minutes in the real world can seem like 100 years in a dream state. And I said, absolutely, because time is not real. Okay, I need to explain what time is. A construct that's created by higher beings to give relevance to a frame of existence. Okay, so it's like scarcity. That's what time is. It's created to make this time here relevant. Okay, so it's like scarcity, where when something is scarce, it seems more valuable than it really is. Well, what does that mean? So, for example, diamonds are really abundant. You go in Africa, a diamond is like a rock. It ain't anywhere else, just like a rock. But what happens is people take control of a diamond mine, and then they destroy 90% of the diamonds, and then they say, oh, these are scarce. So they jack the price of the diamond up, making it seem like it's scarce when really it's not. You destroyed 90% of the ones that actually exist. So now they can raise the value. That's kind of like what time is. It's abundant, because let's understand, time they want to tell you, oh, you only got one life and you only got this much time. And when the truth is, those of us who know, we know we've always been and always will be. Those of us who know, so I know it's just 2 or 3 of us in the room, I get it. But those of us who know we always were and always will be. Okay. So you got this situation where somebody's created this construct called time to make this seem more relevant, like, oh, you only got one of these, when the truth is you always were, always will be. So when you know what's going on, you understand that everything is happening really at the same time. So let me explain this. That's why I want to put that visual aid up. I'm not sure if I can get to it now because it's not, I can't pull up one of my drives, but I want to get to this. All right. When you hear people saying stuff like, oh, you know, life is short, and I'm not, listen, again, these principles that we teach in UNA University, by the way, the university is starting July 14th. I encourage you guys, if you're wanting to be a part of it, my people at TikTok, name, number, phone, name, number, email, leave that in the inbox, name, number, email, leave it in the inbox. For my people on YouTube, find us at UNA University and let's get you enrolled. But these principles that we teach, they're not easy to understand. You must know these laws and be willing to apply them in order to really understand what I'm saying when I'm speaking these things. But you have all the time in the world. You have all the time in the world. When you got the right knowledge and the right energy, you got all the time in the world. I'm not going into it here, but let me say this. When she talks about the apocalypse, and as I've said this before, there are many different universes. They call them multiverses. You've heard, and again, this is one of the things that I go over in the university. But there are many different universes or multiverses, and they've all happened at the same time. The question is, which one are you experiencing? And I can say to you, the one that you're experiencing is the one where you have put your conscience. That's what you're going to experience. Wherever you put your conscience, that is the universe that you experience. So she talks about the apocalypse, and it happened in 2012, and some of us, we just not ready to believe it, and some of us, listen, the apocalypse happened, something else happened, all these other dimensions happened. Some people experience that apocalypse because that's where they put their subconscious. And those of us who have our subconscious or conscience in a positive, higher vibratory place, well, we ain't back there with them. We don't experience that garbage they experience back there because that's not where our subconscious is. Or our conscience, because that's not where we choose to live or dwell. How do we get to a different dimension? Your actions. What are you doing on a daily basis? How are you treating other people? What things are you doing to uplift yourself and others? Are you eating? What are you eating? What are you drinking? Where are you sleeping at? Who are you talking to? All the actions. All of that determines part of what causes you to go into another dimension. All right. Your vibratory frequency. Okay. If somebody does something to you in your life or whatever, do you choose to stay down here in a lower vibratory frequency? Are you allowing the media to manipulate your energies and how you treat other people and how you act towards the Albion or towards men? Are you allowing yourself to be manipulated and staying down here in the lower vibratory frequency? Or are you operating up here in love and peace, enlightenment? Where are you operating? That's going to determine the dimension that your conscience shows up in. Third, your beliefs. What do you truly believe? And you know what? I don't even like to use the term belief. I use the term know. Do you know that this is how it is? Because you can believe, which I believe that. But those of us who know law, we know. There is no belief. We know when the universe has got our back. We know whether or not when we ask the universe for something, it's going to show up. We know. Okay. So that all of those three things, actions, vibratory frequency, beliefs. So what do I mean when I say quote unquote beliefs? Look, if the doctor tells you, all right, Miss Johnson, you have 2 months to live, and you believe it, well then you're gonna die in 2 months because you believe it. That's that universe or that multiverse that you have created. The doctor told you something and you said, yeah, I believe it. Well then, there you go. But see, any doctor, nurse, or anybody who deals with people who are ill or quote unquote terminal, they will tell you that the ones who believe that they're not going to die, those are the ones that survive. They tell you that. Because it's all about what's up here, and what they do when they make that belief in their mind was, I know God, and God got my back, and the universe got my back, or source got, whatever their belief is, that's the dimension that they've created, and that's where their conscience is going to show up. Well, no, they keep living. Because the doctor don't determine nothing. They know that they got a God. Those three things. Actions, vibratory frequency, belief. And when you get those in order, whatever dimension that you create up here is the dimension where your conscience is going to show up. So the people who believed in that 2012 garbage, it happened for them. It did. But for those of us who know, and we created our own dimension, well then, what shows up for us is abundance, love, compassion, a society where people operate in integrity, honor, and respect. That's what shows up for us. That's the dimension that we have created. And so let's be clear. The universe is correcting itself. The woman is coming back into power, whether you like it or not. My job here is to make sure she understands how we got in the mess in the first place, and to make sure we don't go back there again. All right. I want y'all to know, especially my brothers, I love you. I love you. We are on the same vibratory frequency. You are a spiritual entity. I'm going to see you again. And when I see you again, it ain't going to be nothing but love, because that's the only thing I'm going to give to you. I want you to know I love you. I hope y'all found this message well. All right. Balance, thank you for joining. Sylvia, thank you for joining. Stevie, you are loved. Lady Libra, thank you for all the questions. Tanya, thank you. I want y'all to know I love you. My people in TikTok, Bam Bam, Posh, thank you for the love. 333. We're going to see y'all next week. Please make sure you get with us so that we can enroll you in the UNA University. All right. Find us at UNAUniversity.com. Also, remember, we're streaming on X, TikTok, and YouTube. I love you. I'm out of here. Diva Lyri, what is my music? I want y'all to give me a hug.